Okay, I think it is recording now. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Welcome to the College of Ed Education Abroad presentation. This presentation is going to be focusing on international programs that may be a good fit for College of Education majors. We're going to talk about exchange programs, affiliate programs, internships, and faculty-led programs. Wanted to quickly introduce everyone. First, we have our Texas Global colleagues. If you could give a quick wave, Lucia and Kate and myself, Jean. We also have our wonderful College of Education faculty. We've got Dr. Reddick, Arietta, Tackett, Dr. Campos, Dr. Sines, and Dr. Bartholomew should be joining soon. He might be popping on later. We've also got some other College of Ed reps. We've got Noah and Jessica here with us. Thank you all for being here. So I'm going to kick off. Let me share my screen. Do this whole thing. Hold on. 1 second. Share screen. Alrighty. Can you all see these slides? Okay, great. So I'm going to kick off and just, I think the best place to start is just with the question, why study abroad? Why do you want to have this experience? There was a recent survey done from UT graduates, and over 85% said that study abroad was the biggest impact on their professional or graduate success. In fact, it was ranked higher than any other activity on campus. And so the simple fact is that, employers see something when they see this kind of experience on your resume. Kate's going to be talking about that later when she talks about internships. But beyond that, studying abroad provides you with another way of looking at things. It presents you with new challenges, new risks. And by navigating through those, you're going to be learning more about yourself and the world and how to bridge cultural differences. So in short, it makes you a better person. This next slide just highlights some stats. So we send a lot of students abroad every year. Obviously, COVID has slowed the surge down the past couple of months, but our programs do continue. We did have students abroad in the fall semester. Students are abroad in the spring semester as well, and we're hopeful that even more students will be able to go abroad this summer. We are monitoring the situation worldwide and working behind the scenes to make sure that you have this opportunity and that you have options if you do want to pursue going abroad. So normally we send thousands of students, over 4,000 students abroad to over 100 countries. There's over 400 programs you can choose. So whether it's this year or next year, I'm confident that there's a program for you if you plan for it. So just to highlight a few, the main types of programs you can go on, and we're going to be going into each of these types in a little bit more detail. First of all, an exchange program. This is where UT has a partnership with a foreign university. So you would be going abroad typically for a longer term, and you are like an international student for them. So it's a very independent, you'll get involved in, student orgs, you'll find support there, but you'll navigate everything a little bit more independently. You will have the support of the exchange university's, international office. You pay UT tuition, and your grades are considered in residence, so they factor into your GPA here at UT. The second type of program is an affiliate program. This is where UT is partnering with a study abroad company or third-party provider. So this type of program looks a little bit different. Typically, there's a little bit more support in the sense that, you'll have a formal orientation. You will be with a cohort of students from around the US. There's pre-planned excursions and activities that you go on. But each program, again, there's so many affiliate programs, there's a wide range of services and support. On an affiliate program, you pay a registration fee to UT, you don't pay tuition, you'll pay the affiliate's program fee, and your grades come back as transfer credit, so it does not factor into your GPA at UT. We also have faculty-led programs. These are programs led by UT professors. They're teaching a UT course and you're just with a group of UT students. It's just like taking a course here, but abroad. So your grades are also in residence and transfer back to your GPA here at UT. And then finally, you'll see there are internships that span exchange and affiliate programs. More on that in the next section that we're going to talk through. This next slide just shows you kind of at a high level what our advising process is like this year. Everyone in our office is also working remotely, so we've had to revise our structure a little bit. Normally, once we're back on campus, we'll be back in the office and you can pop in and talk to an advisor. But in the meantime, we have a lot of pre-recorded videos. So these are grouped by type of program. They're also grouped by region of the world. So we suggest that you start by watching those to get more detail. We will also hold live Q&A sessions weekly. So you'll find those on our events calendar. So after you've watched the videos, you can pop on if you have a question and speak to someone live via Zoom to answer your questions. We've got a bunch of events. There are program-specific events, regional events. We'll be pasting our calendar of events for you so that you can check those out. Every program has their own program page, so you can read the details of each program. We've got a great database that collects all the credit that students have taken from abroad, so you can search for programs through that database. We do encourage you to talk to your academic advisors as well. Let them know you want to go abroad, and they can also help kind of filter down and find the best fit for your degree plan and what you're interested in. We're hopeful that, all of these resources will help you kind of do your research on your own and help you kind of narrow things down to, maybe one or two best programs. And then you can also, as a last step, go ahead and apply online, and there's instructions on how to do that as well, depending on the program type. All right, and then this last section that I'm going to be talking through, we typically get questions that fall into two big buckets, funding questions and credit questions. And they kind of fall in line with some of the myths about studying abroad, if it's too expensive or it's going to delay my graduation. So I wanted to talk through some of these. First, in regards to funding, the real cost of studying abroad can actually be more affordable than what it might cost you at UT. Depending on the location you're going to, you might be going to a place that's more, where the cost of living is lower. Additionally, if you receive financial aid, all of your aid does travel with you on a study abroad program. And finally, there are lots of scholarships that you can apply for. Just within our office, we offer over $1 million of scholarships each year. And then there's also national scholarships that you can apply for. And then lastly, with credit, if you go on an approved program, you are guaranteed some kind of credit, and we'll work to make sure that it fits within to meet your degree requirements. We have that credit database, as I was mentioning, that tracks all the courses students have received abroad. And then finally, there is an evaluation process as well when you return to get any equivalencies from courses abroad. So with that, I'm going to hand it off. We're going to split this presentation into different chunks. So first up, Kate is going to be talking about study internships that you can take abroad. So I'm going to hand it to her.
Awesome. Thanks, Jean. My name is Kate Ulrich, and I am the International Internship Coordinator at Texas Global. You're welcome to contact me with any questions you have about interning abroad. Thank you. So you already know that there's a lot of great benefits to having an internship. It's a wonderful way to try out your career, see if you like it in just a short span of time. But there's additional benefits to having an internship abroad. This is a great way to see how your career changes in different countries. I've worked in classroom, did my education obviously in the United States. And then I have worked in classrooms in Rwanda and in Japan, and I learned a lot about education from seeing other countries' education models. So it's a great way to see how things change, reflected on the way I teach myself. It's a good way to learn about, it's a good way to learn to communicate with people who are different from yourself, because even if you don't work abroad in the future, you will work with people who are different from yourself. It's a good way to work on your hard skills, the things you're learning in your major classes, but also your transferable skills, your adaptability, your teamwork, your resiliency skills that are going to be essential in any first job you have. It's a great way to establish a professional network. It doesn't mean you have to work abroad in the future, but they may know someone who has a job opportunity in Houston. Keeps your options open. And then it brings unique anecdotes to your job search experience. Only about 10% of US college students study abroad. The number who intern abroad is significantly less than that. So if a recruiter's only spending an average of 20 seconds looking at a resume, your internship in Thailand, they're going to be interested. They'll ask you about it. So we have over 100 programs where you can do an internship abroad. The models vary widely, but there are a couple overarching things that you should know about all of our programs. First of all is that they are programs. We are not a job board. We are not matching you directly with a company. This is an all-inclusive program of support. Our internship programs offer internships that are not paid, and this is because of work authorization and visas in different countries. We do offer great scholarships, though, to help offset that cost, and I'll talk about that in a sec. Most programs do a customized placement method. This is an educational model. We're most interested in helping you develop your skills and achieving your personal, academic, and professional goals. So you'll have an interview about what you're looking for, your experience, and what you're hoping to get out of this. Then our advisors match you to an internship that best will help you fulfill those needs. This means that while you're not required to have any prior experience, we can help you find an internship that doesn't need that. But it does mean that you have less control over the company name. If you know the exact company you want to work for abroad, going through one of our programs is not going to be the answer for you. You should go apply directly to that company. Most companies we work with tend to be smaller startups. Smaller companies or startups, students tend to like that because they have a larger bird's eye view of the whole experience. If there's only 20 people, you may have lunch with the CEO once a week. It's less work in this model because the networking is done for you. Most of the programs, once you're accepted, you are guaranteed an internship for which you are qualified in your field. And all of the companies are vetted as part of the program, so you know that it's legitimate. As a UT student going through our programs, you get visa support through our partners so that you apply for the most legal visa for your experience. Your housing is arranged. You have 24/7 on the ground emergency support, and you are covered by UT Overseas Insurance should anything go wrong. So there's basically 3 broad buckets of internship types. We have our internship programs with coursework. These are either attached to exchange programs or affiliate programs, as Jean was mentioning on that chart earlier, and as my colleague Lucy will talk about in a few minutes. We also have our internship programs without coursework. These are full 30 to 40 hour a week professional development experiences. You're not taking classes, but there are professional development activities and cultural activities built in to help you fully immerse yourself in the local community. And then we have our faculty-driven internships, which are a small new model that are developed in partnership with UT faculty members. So you have over 100 options to pick from. A good way to start narrowing down what you might want to do is to look at our internships by career field flyers. These have not been updated yet this spring, so you will want to double check that the program is still running, but it can give you a great broad overview of the types of programs that exist for students in your major. There are a lot of flyers. You are not limited to the one that most closely aligns with your major. Most of our programs are open to students of any major. But there is an experiential learning for education one that students in this school might find particularly interesting. For our kinesiology students, check out that experiential learning for health fields flyer. If the flyer doesn't list a foreign language, you are not required to speak any language except English, even if it's not an English-speaking country. So don't feel like you're limited by location. And as I said, we do have lots of funding opportunities to help you offset the cost of your internship abroad. I have a funding for internships page here where it divides out every scholarship I know of for an internship abroad into different sections. Some students will actually use this page to figure out which program they want to do, find which programs we're going to have the most money and then work backwards to find a program that will match the money. That's a good option. One scholarship to highlight is our Freeman Scholars. This is a very generous grant that we get from the Freeman Foundation every year that's open to UT students interning in East and Southeast Asia. So if you are looking for funding to help offset the cost of your internship, think Asia. There's a lot of money in this account. Students are required as part of this scholarship to do a project where they share their experience with their UT community upon their return. I work with students every year as part of that. It's not, don't let that scare you away. But students have done a lot of really creative and interesting projects and often actually end up enjoying that part. But the awards are very generous. So your steps to apply. On our website, we have some advising videos. There is an Internships Abroad 101 video that you'll want to watch. Browse the webpage. It's brand new as of this spring semester. Look at those flyers. If you have questions, I've got an Internship Abroad Q&A session on Tuesdays at 12:30, which I'll be popping off to in a moment. You're welcome to chat with me there. Talk to your academic advisor. Ask them about internship credit and making sure that you stay on track for your degree plan. And then you will need a resume to apply for these programs. So I recommend that you update that early. So visit your career services. My email address is international.internships@austin.utexas.edu. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me.
Thanks so much, Kate, for talking through internships. We're going to shift to a different type of program now. We're going to talk about exchange and affiliate programs, and Lucia is going to lead this section.
Okay, here I go. Unmute button. The fun of Zoom. Okay,
Sorry.
So let me introduce or invite you to explore programs that are perhaps longer in duration and perhaps a hidden treasure for your major because you have not maybe considered them possible as I don't see too many records of past engagement. So I want to highlight where you can go, where you can study, and what are the best schools for educational training out there that we have partnered with and are our exchange partners, or what are the best affiliated programs available for either summer or a semester. These are programs designed that give you the greatest independence. You're able to choose your coursework, choose the level of involvement, experience it. And as you can tell, I'm a teacher and I'm a former educator who has pursued this path in my university training. I explored alternative schooling in Netherlands and UK education overall. So I think it definitely broadens horizons, and who knows, maybe you'll end up at a university abroad talking about international experiences in the future too. So without further ado, let's go to Sweden. Uppsala University is known for being or letting you dive deep into Scandinavian model of education. what I would like to highlight is that you can study education and reform strategy, or classroom as a social meeting place, in a setting that is voted one of the most beautiful universities in Europe. It is located about an hour from Stockholm, so it's not exactly in the capital city, but it is a very sort of progressive and socially driven educational environment. So definitely well worth your exploration. The Nordic countries are going to be the ones that I focus on, as well as England here. Let's go to the next slide. In our exploration of the Nordic countries, you could study in Norway. University of Oslo is one of our highly ranked in QS World Rankings that I'll be referencing here, schools for educational training. They have about 92 courses in English that are available in education. And we have not really had students engaged yet. So I highly recommend to go. On the picture here, of course, you see some magnificent landscape, but you'll be studying in the city of Oslo, which is a vibrant cultural mecca of the country in the south. And I'm sure you will get to Lofton Islands that are in the picture during the semester, as well as explore some of the fjords. It's a similar city to UT in terms of incorporating outdoorsy access to outdoorsy lifestyle, but of course you would be benefiting academically because they're ranking and foremost research that is available through great libraries, as well as fantastic modern campus that you'd be studying at. Next, in the north of Europe, you can study in Denmark. This is an affiliated program which focuses on cross-cultural approaches to current practices when working with children. It gives you practicum experiences in Danish nurseries, preschools, and public schools, and it basically explored the social context to education that is Scandinavia known for. It's a good fit for child development, educational studies, or even family studies and human development courses. And the model of DIS affiliated program is that they have a core class, and it's linked to a week-long study or experiential aspect, if you wish, study tour. So that core class is child development and education in Scandinavia, or children in a multicultural context. Next semester, I should also mention that UT students get automatic discounts to DIS affiliated programs of $4,000. Next, on our trip around the world, we are going to go to Scotland, and we're moving to UK. So we have two great partner institutions, University of Edinburgh and the University of Glasgow. Edinburgh scores higher on the QS ranking of top universities in educational training, but they're both fantastic schools that have obviously whole degrees that you could be part of. I'm going to move probably on and not spend too much time on Scotland, so that I can explore a little bit more in depth Oxford Brookes. If you ever wanted to go and study in Oxford, this is your chance. The institution is offering courses that are sorry, give me a second here. I've lost my slide comment.
While you're looking at that, I will say
Yes.
that one of our former study abroad students who went on to get a PhD as a professor at Oxford Brookes and helped to make that relationship happen. So there's good courses there for students with interest in exercise science and health.
Thank you, John. That's exactly why I needed those notes, because we have courses that are directly related in kinesiology and great in health education focus. So ALD or EDU programs are really strong here, where you take the studies alongside to local students. So it's an exceptional opportunity in terms of being fully part of the school, getting the academic advising and experiencing British model of instruction, where you are much more independent. Perhaps your contact hours are slightly smaller in numbers, but you are spending time in tutorial engagement with the faculty and with your advisors. So it's also a premier school in research of functional safety, food safety and nutritional sort of policies in the country. So if you would be interested in this area, you would be alongside some brilliant researchers at Oxford Brookes. Okay, next. We have the #1 rated school for educational training in the world, and that's UCL. UCL is, given its reputation, highly competitive. You have to have 3.3, 3.4 GPA to get accepted, and you would be applying directly to the Department of Education. Currently in our records, you don't see many specific courses from UCL converted yet, and that is because we've sent many students but not enough educational major students yet. But I think if you want really top-notch education, this should not be neglected. This should be your focus. So if you are the prime candidate, I encourage you. It is possible to get in. It is centrally located, of course, in London. You will probably live in housing that is not, it's cramped a little bit, but it's very affordable because it's a university housing, and you would be in the most cosmopolitan city, of course, with exposure to all that diversity that London brings about. Okay, so UCL is your top school to aspire to, perhaps. And next, we can go in England to Bristol, which is also an Ivy League school, but perhaps the entry requirement will not be as stringent. Your GPA requirement is a 3.0 here, and the courses that you can study are education in policy in global context, or global south, social change, the education in and practice in education in time of social and technological change, or equality and social justice. So right along basically topical studies in education that are very contextual in our time. The Bristol as a city is not to be feared. It is not too far. It's about a 90-minute train ride from London, so very easy access to the capital if you are interested in London itself, and it is a major hub for budget airlines, so it would be actually more beneficial to be in Bristol for exploration once the travel is a little bit less restrictive. And of course, now in the new development with COVID, this may be a better suited option for 2022 than immediately this fall. Okay, we're going to move further along to our affiliated programs, and I'm talking about them because they may offer you something in the summer. So if you want to explore in Latin America, API would be your partner for Spanish as a second language instruction and experience in Buenos Aires, in a bilingual primary school with an internship. This is the connection that Kate was talking about, where some of these institutions and some of these providers will give you the internship experience as well as the instruction. University de Belgrano is your host institution, and you would spend about a month and a half in country, staying with local families, commuting to school about 15 to 30 minutes, having a homestay in a lovely neighborhood, and being immersed in Spanish. Next opportunity with an affiliate provider is in South Africa for education majors, and that is in Durban. And if you would be into studying sort of link between education and a society in terms of, you know, development of social change, and how educational institutions were part of this process of social transformation in a country. Being in South Africa for month of June and July would give you an access to that. It's an 8 credit worth program that gives you a week-long practicum and lets you study some Zulu language as well. You stay with local families. You, of course, study the educational transformation and leadership as well. Okay, in Johannesburg, we are going to move right along. I'm going to mention Turkey as our great partner in Middle East. If you would like to go for a semester long or a summer program, we have both options available here. And in the past, students have taken courses such as EDP 363M or EDC 332. It is possible to study some courses in English here, and you will have some records that are in MyCut that document it. And of course, it's a bustling 13 million city that links east and west at the edge of Europe. So in and of itself, it's an interesting location, and minority and heritage community students are supported by Turkish Coalition of America by a generous stipend. So you're encouraged to apply for a study abroad scholarship that's specifically tied to this school. And next on our options are going to be the ones that are perhaps going to be accessible later on. So in Australia, when the borders open, we are going to have premier partners, and University of Melbourne will be probably your focal point as the second largest city in the country. It is located in the capital, and it's rated number 12 in the world in QS rankings. So, you know, UT is currently in educational training at 39. This will give you a great exposure to education in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm not going to spend too much time discovering all of these partners, but we have about 5 universities in Australia that you can engage in for an entire semester. And I don't want to skip Latin America, although it's pretty hard to go currently. So let me mention that premier institution is in Santiago and in Chile. Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile is a place that would have students in the past, but they would need to be fluent or have SBN 327C to be able to follow courses in English as well as in Spanish. And we have had students successfully studying here education. And next in our world tour is going to be Asia, and that's going to be the last region I talk about. Singapore, that withstood in our pandemic environment the strongest, and has very strict entry requirements, is a location where Nanyang Technological University would be a great fit for education, and subjects such as assessment of special needs or designing ICT-based constructivist activities are a great fit here. And you will find the school itself extremely interesting because of its technology sort of test bed for technologies philosophy. So surprisingly, it's a very affordable option as well in Asia. So do research this 37th best school to study education in universities around the world. And last but not least, we'll close with South Korea. South Korea is where most of students currently are in terms of Asia. And I would like you to look into the various institutions, not just Seoul National, but Korea U, because that is going to be the place where you will most likely be able to access the country without too many stringent entry requirements. Okay, I took you on a whirlwind of the whole world offerings where you can be for an entire semester. So I'm going to close with pointing you again to our website and to videos where we talk more in depth about the individual options. We offer checklists and guidelines to how to navigate this independent process of investigation. What is your best fit? And if you ever get stuck, give us an email and we'll point you to the right Q&A where you can discuss things with us directly.
Thanks so much, Lucia. I'm mindful of time, so I'm going to skip. We're going to talk about faculty-led programs, and I'm going to jump right in and let our faculty leaders highlight their programs. We're going to start with the Latinx program in Puebla, Mexico, with Doctors Saenz and Campos. If you guys want to unmute, feel free.
Thank you, Jean, and we'll be quick because I know we're short on time. I'm very pleased to be able to co-teach this offering with my good friend and colleague, Dr. Emmett Campos, at the Universidad Las Americas in Puebla, Mexico. You see behind me is actually one of the many murals around the city. Puebla, Mexico is a historic city. I think it's the longest continuously settled community in all the Americas, going back literally a couple thousand years and then some. Really rich in history, culture, heritage, you name it, and only about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Mexico City, which is also going to be another big part of our excursion experience. This course is really anchored in exploring Latinx identities from multiple perspectives, both in the way that religion, culture, food, history, the indigenous aspects of our culture, et cetera, shape identity. And doing so in literally the heart of the Americas is no better place to do it. Universidad Las Americas Puebla, UDLAP, as we call it, is a really ideal university to be located at as well. Some great partners there that we've been working with, and allows us opportunities to do excursions to various other places. And I'll ask Dr. Campos maybe to talk a little bit more about that, as well as some of the other curricular aspects that we are building in, including the service learning component. Emmett?
Thank you, Victor. Yes, we're very excited about taking our cohort of students out to UDLAP. And as Victor pointed out, we're going to be using Puebla as a base for our instruction. We've got a couple of textbooks we're going to be drawing from. One of them is Beyond Machismo by Yula Hurtado, and then the other one is Masculinity and Sexuality in Modern Mexico. So those are going to be the core texts. But again, A lot of your work is also going to be conducted out in the Puebla community. And so we've got some service learning opportunities for you. We're going to be working with some local schools, working with some local community-based organizations to give you a really full experience of Mexico. And we're particularly excited too about our excursions to Mexico City. And we're about an hour and a half. We're going to spend a couple of days in Mexico City and explore.
I think he cut off there, or maybe I did. Well, I'll finish his thought, Emmett. Other excursions to Oaxaca and Cholula, which is just outside of Puebla. So again, you get a sense that we're really squeezing a lot into the three and a half, 4 weeks that we're going to be together in the beautiful historic city of Puebla, Mexico. And you know, this is also one of the most affordable faculty-led programs out there, I might add. The program fee plus other travel fees all in, maybe 4,000 total. And so, you know, as you think about opportunities to study abroad in this kind of a format, you know, I think we've really pieced together quite a dynamic curriculum, certainly embedded deeply in the rich cultural heritage and history of the region of all the Americas, visiting museums, visiting other historic sites throughout central Mexico. And anyway, so as you can see, we're also cross-listed with various other departments across campus, Mexican American Studies, Latin American Studies, of course, here in ALD as well. And this is an extension of our research work with Project Mails, service and research work with our Project Mails initiative as well, that Dr. Campos is the director for. But I'll turn it back over to Jean, because I know we have various other programs to get through. Thank you all.
Thanks so much, Dr. Sines and Dr. Campos. We're going to stay in Latin America, and the next program up is Dr. Urrieta's program in Guatemala that's slated to run this summer as well. Oh, I think you're muted. There we go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Luis Urrieta, and I'm a faculty member in the College of Education. Is it possible? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to talk to you about the Casa Herrera program. This is a 6-week program that runs during the second summer session. It's a program that's been running since 2011. You take 2 courses in this program. One is ALD 327, Sociocultural Influences on Learning, and a language course through the PLFM, which is the Proyecto Lingüístico Francisco Marroquín, which is an organization, Mayan-based organization that has about a 50-year history working with Mayan-led initiatives in Guatemala. And through them, students take language courses, either Spanish at different levels, from beginning Spanish to advanced levels that have all been pre-approved by UT. So all the course credits are UT credits. And for students who speak Spanish, they have the option of studying Cachiquel, which is one of the 21 Mayan languages in Guatemala. The program also arranges for homestays. So students stay with the host family where they get to practice Spanish and learn more about Guatemalan customs and food and such. The program includes 3 meals a day, except Sundays, and the families are accustomed to working with foreign students, have hosted students for decades. So they're very accommodating to dietary needs or whatever other special situations students pose or need. We also have excursions and activities. One weekend excursion to Lake Atitlan, a day trip to Guatemala City. We also do a type of internship at a local school in Chimaltenango, working with Mayan children and youth who are learning in a multilingual context. Through the course, students are also asked to do a field project of their own interest, depending on whatever it is that they want to focus on. There's lots of places around Antigua where, and not-for-profit organizations and community organizations where students have volunteered to do their field projects, including some arts-based organizations, some health care oriented organizations, etc. Can we change the slide, please? So I had mentioned that there's 6 credits, the Sociocultural Influences on Learning course, or ALD 327G, is cross-listed with Latin American Studies 322. It carries a global cultures and cultural diversity flag. The focus of the course is on the socio-political and historical context of learning. What are the different influences that impact learning and shape learning, from learning in family and community contexts to learning in the context of formal institutions like schools. Because it's in Guatemala, we also focus a little bit on the history of Guatemala, the cultural diversity and linguistic diversity of Guatemala, including the Civil War in Guatemala and the reasons why people migrate from countries like Guatemala and Central America through Mexico to the United States. And that allows students to understand and have a better understanding of Central Americans' experiences in migration, and also the presence and issues that Central American communities face in the United States, which are different and have particularities that need attention, merit attention, not just be added into a larger Latino collective. The Spanish courses, the language courses, as I said, span from beginning to advanced, except for Cachiquel, which is beginning Cachiquel. Students are tested for placement. There's no need to know Spanish. And if students are advanced, depending on the courses they've taken at UT and their placement, they would be in the appropriate language setting. The courses are very small. This is always appealing to students. There's between 1 to 5 students max in the language course. So there's a lot of individualized attention and room for growth. Can we have the next slide?
Oh, actually, Dr. Urieta, that was the last slide that I had pulled in.
Okay.
For you.
So that's the last slide. And I'm open to having conversations with folks, students, and other people interested in this program. There are several faculty that rotate leading this program, and I'm one of the 3 faculty with Dr. Noah de Lisavoy and Dr. Kathleen Brown that have run this program in the past.
Thank you so much. We are going to jump over to Europe now. Our Copenhagen Maymester with Dr. Bart and Dr. Tommy Hunt. If you want to go ahead and unmute, yep, take it away.
Okay, I think you can go to the next slide. So this is a program that Dr. Hunt and I co-teach. The first half of the course he teaches is really experiential in base, where you travel out to different sport organizations. So the Danish Federation of Sport, the Danish Doping Institute, what have you, and really talk about the history of sport and the Olympic movement. Then the second half of the course I teach is a little bit more traditional in focus, more classroom oriented, that is based on sports psychology and sort of how well we are living up to the Olympic ideal and how that differs in a European model versus a model in the US for youth sport. We are doing it in Copenhagen for the first time. We're partnering with DIS, which has great facilities, good students to live. So DIS is also a destination for people to do semesters abroad, and so they're really well skilled at handling international students. They have shared facilities for living, apartments that folks are in that are relatively close and easy to get to where the classrooms are, and then a large education building, study centers, and things along those lines. So from that perspective, I think it works really well. It's really nicely centered right in the middle of the city, and our program works to be flexible enough so that you can use weekends to be able to visit other areas within Europe with some of the low cost airlines to be able to get to places. And that's sort of been a hallmark of what our students have done. So if you have questions about it, please reach out to me, send me an email or what have you, and take care. And hopefully we'll have a good trip this summer.
Thanks so much, Dr. Bart. We're going to jump over now to Asia and Dr. Tackett's program in Taipei.
Yes, and this is something that I hope we are going on this year and hopefully in the future years as well. So this is a class, ALD 322, that is on most degree plans for education majors, which is a great thing in that you are not taking any additional classes. You are taking a class that is typically required for most education majors, like I said, on your degree plans. We would be in the amazing city of Taiwan for approximately 4 weeks. It's a Maymester program. We'll be housed at National Taiwan Normal University, staying in their dorm rooms, eating in their cafeterias, so living as undergraduate students in Taipei. And we will be doing work surrounding disability and special education. If you want to click over, Jean. And so this is one of my absolute favorite class to teach here on campus, whether that be online or in person. And I'm really excited to bring this class to Taipei. And I just want to say all of these programs that we're doing in the College of Education are wonderful. And I hope we all get the opportunity to do these programs. And I don't think students can choose wrong. I don't think there's any program that you won't learn tons on. And I hope you all just take advantage of these amazing programs that we have. Oh, I had another slide. Look at that. So what this could look like in Taipei, this is actually where we would be staying at NTNU. We would spend a couple hours in the morning in the classroom doing very similar activities to what we would be doing here if you took the course here at UT. So for example, learning about the disability rights movement, how we have treated people with disabilities in the United States. Afternoon and evenings, we would have on your own to go explore because you aren't taking this class in Sanchez, you'd be taking this class at NTNU. So I want to give you time to explore in Taipei. I'll be sharing what I do. Taipei is incredibly affordable. It is easily accessible, particularly if you don't speak Mandarin and you speak English. Signs are in both Mandarin and English. It is also incredibly safe. Taipei is one of the 10 safest cities in the entire world, and there's not a city in the United States that makes that top 10 list at all. And then we would be learning about what the disability rights movement looks like in Taiwan the next day. So it'd be both, we would cover both the content that we cover here when I teach the class here at UT, but also really putting a spin on it in terms of what it looks like, what special education looks like in Taiwan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tackett. Last but not least, we've got Dr. Reddick's program in Cambridge. And Dr. Reddick, I just put this slide of pictures for your program.
Perfect. Well, I agree with Dr. Tackett. All of the offerings we have in the College of Education are excellent. You can't really make a bad decision. So I would really emphasize, I was in a conversation one time with somebody and they were like, you should go study abroad, but don't go to England. They speak English there. And I was like, wow, that is a real miss, because what we do in our study abroad with my colleague, Dr. Terrence Green, is that we look at the comparative experiences of the UK and US education system. And we look at it from a systems level. So we look at what happens in primary and secondary and post-secondary education. And we actually look at special education as well. So it's really cool because you don't really have to have, I had a number of students who were ALD majors or YCS majors, but I had students who were dance majors and from other areas across the university. And the format of the class essentially is basically we do discussion, we have guest speakers, we have folks who visit from our provider AIFS who talk about the British education system. There are a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. So most people were somewhat familiar. They've seen movies or whatever. They have a kind of a figuring out how it works, but it's quite different in some other ways. And so as a higher ed scholar, I definitely fixate on what happens at Cambridge and Anglia Ruskin, where we actually take our classes. We spend a day in Cambridge, in Oxford as well. So we actually walk past all the places you saw in Lucy's Oxford presentation. And we spent a lot of the day after our class just exploring. So Cambridge is a very walkable city. It's a World Heritage type city. There's people from all over the world. You will encounter other Americans there. And the one thing I would say about the study abroad that I don't think has been mentioned is just the 30-day Maymester experience sounds like a short period of time. And it is, but I think it's also an incredibly intense period of time. I'm still in touch with my students from 2019 who we studied abroad with. It was my first ever study abroad experience. I am a first-gen low-income undergraduate student. I never studied abroad. It's my biggest regret. And I got to do it like about 28 years later. And it was definitely one of the highlights of my career, just spending time with 20 students from across the university and just understanding diversity, equity, inclusion in the UK context, which is again similar, but different in many ways. So a lot of the preconceptions about racial equity issues, my students were like, we don't understand what we're talking about low-income white kids from the North. And we don't understand why there's so much focus on South Asian student experiences, because that is the largest ethnic group in the UK. But come and visit, come and spend time with us. It's a great experience. And as has been said before, all of our study abroads are incredible. So please make the time to investigate, talk to me, talk to Dr. Green. We're happy to talk to you with about the experience and what you can do with it, and basically how it leads to other great things. I've had a number of students who said, you know, my future career plans have changed because I've had this opportunity and I want to do something international, or I want to go to graduate school and study this issue. So yeah, that's what I would say. Good luck deciding, and please talk to us if you're interested.
Thanks so much, Dr. Reddick. And that was a great way to kind of sum up this whole event and presentation. Just next and final steps, we'll send out these slides. We will direct you to a lot of the links and resources that we talked about throughout the presentation. Check out our events calendar. All of the programs that we highlighted today either have a specific event or a regional event that you can attend for more information, and chat with your academic advisor as well. With that, I'm going to stop sharing and see if there's any students that had questions. We can maybe take a question or two. Otherwise, we can wrap up as well. I think that might cover it. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll share out the recording. Please pass along to your friends. Thanks to all the presenters. And have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Jean.